Hi, I'm Caroline Mitchell, Canine Behaviourist at Good Doggy. If you have a really busy dog, one of those dogs that seems to just always constantly need some sort of attention or needs to be kept busy, looking for mischief, that kind of thing, you might be tempted to do more with them. You might be tempted to try and burn off some of that extra energy with longer walks or extra walks. Or maybe you try to relieve the boredom, perhaps with more enrichment activities. You maybe introduce slow feeders, puzzle balls, that kind of stuff. You might spend your whole day trying just to keep your dog entertained, trying to keep them calm and trying to keep them happy. But very often, when you have a dog like this, they need less stimulation and not more. So here's a few different examples of when we need to really sort of cut back, pull back from all of that extra stimulation and extra activity. And actually what we really need to do is teach our dogs how just to be bored. So they can just settle and be content and just relax for at least part of the day anyway. So let's talk about separation anxiety, because this kind of dog, if they can't settle themselves when you're there, then they're definitely going to struggle to settle themselves when you're not there. So when you give your dog lots of extra stuff and you try to keep them entertained, eventually this stuff will run out. They'll get to the end of all of the activities you've given them. So we just keep giving them more and more and more. But when we have a dog that has separation anxiety, we can't keep doing this. We can't do that. You can only give them so much stuff to do when you leave. So if they run out of stuff after 10 minutes or 20 minutes, that's when you see this problem starts to creep in. So when you leave the dog, they're quite happy. They'll sit there and they'll play with their lick mat and they'll play with their toys and their puzzle games and find all the treats that you've left out for them. But at the end of that period, when all of that is run out, now they're stuffed now, they don't know what to do. So now they start looking for activities to do. This might look like they're chewing, they might cry, they might dig, scratch. Maybe all this activity also causes them to have bladder or bowel movements. And we see that kind of that anxiety, what looks like a separation anxiety starting to creep in. But actually what the problem is they've just run out of stuff to do. And because there's nothing else and we're not there, then they're looking for their own stuff. And that can look like separation anxiety. And they can get anxious as well once they've run out of stuff because their brain is just fizzing away. They haven't taught themselves how to settle. So they're just constantly looking for new stuff to do. So if you have a dog that suffers when you're not there, and you think that they can cope for a certain period of time, and then after that, then problem behaviour starts to creep in, then this is probably what the problem is with your separation anxiety. So building up time in those traditional kind of methods of dealing with separation anxiety is not going to help with this dog. What this dog needs to do is to learn how to settle themselves, and there's some ways to do that, and I'll come back to that just at the end of the video. Or maybe they're just busy all day and they're just looking for mischief constantly. They can't settle without trying and get your attention from something. Maybe they like to take things from off the countertops, or they're grabbing at your curtains and swinging on the curtains. They're opening up doors, emptying bins, that kind of stuff. They're looking for mischief all the time. Any excuse to do something that maybe gets you out of your chair as well. Maybe the cat stimulates them very much, so they're constantly alert now. As soon as the cat comes in, then they want to chase the cat, they want to play with the cat. This dog also might run up to dogs in the park a lot, it might steal their toys, this kind of stuff. So this is another problem behaviour associated with not being able to settle, that busy mind, constantly looking for activity. So if mischief doesn't work, then they might move on to mouthing. They might turn on to you, because this is a good way of relieving some of that kind of pent up energy from looking for something, a reaction. So they might grab at your clothes, they might grab at you. Often they might do things like stealing hair bubbles, or they're grabbing at your dressing gown, sleeves, jumpers, that kind of stuff. Perhaps they're constantly going through your pockets. This dog is busy. They climb all over you. constantly looking for attention. In all these cases, these dogs are very overstimulated. The more stimulated they get, the more they need. So being stimulated by toys and constant attention and things like that is addictive. So the more they get, the more they want and the more they need. So what we need to do is try and help them switch off from all of that clutter, all of that stuff, take away all the toys and the food and the treats. And we need to try and make at least some part of the day as boring as possible. And when we're being boring, this is not the same as ignoring your dog. This is not the same as trying to punish them for something. This is just you not adding to the problem. If your dog's constantly bringing a toy to you, if you put that toy very quietly down, away from the dog, very gently, don't interact, don't pull on the toy, anything like that. This is about making this very unrewarding and very, very boring. We're trying to detox the dog from all of this stimulation and constant rewarding behavior and rewarding responses. So we're just trying to slow everything down. When you move slowly, that's quite boring. When you talk slowly, that's boring. Talk quietly, that's kind of boring. And all of this is really helpful for your dog who's trying to calm themselves in a really hectic environment. And it doesn't just come from us, visitors to the house. Maybe you've got kids in there. So all of this stuff all adds up. So just think about how stimulating and exciting things are for your dog and try and really declutter all of that and tone it all right down to help your dog kind of come away from this addiction to hyperness and clutter and that kind of stuff. So when we're managing our dog's boredom, we have to remember a certain amount of boredom is good for them. Just like our kids and our dogs have to learn how to settle and just go, I'll just have a nap. You know, naps are so good for dogs. Once you've shut down from all of that excitement and all that stimulation and the brain is now relaxing, it's a good time to clear away all kinds of brain clutter. So just like us, every experience, every sight, sound, smell, all of that stuff gets put into your dog's brain as they experience it. And when they have a nap, it all gets organized and sorted out and cleared out. So that kind of short-term memory part, that gets cleared out and is ready then for your dog to take on the rest of their day. This prevents overwhelm. So having these naps so that all of the stuff can clear out means your dog is less likely to get overwhelmed and they're not going to suffer with things like reactive behavior as well. Teaching them to relax is obviously good for them. As we saw, if they have separation anxiety, getting them to learn how to actually turn off by themselves is really important, because once they've run out of stuff to do, they just go and have a nap. And they get that benefit from having the nap, but also from not then going around the house looking for something to do to try and keep that busy mind satisfied. So we know it's good for their mental health. It's also physically good for them. Dogs need 16 to 18 hours a day of naps, not just for their mental health, but physically their body fixes and repairs itself when the dog's having a nap. It's a good time for their body to regenerate. They grow when they're asleep. So if your puppy's not getting enough sleep, it could affect their growth. So there's loads and loads of really, really good reasons why your dog needs to learn how to be bored, how to settle, and how to get those really important naps. And not just at home. If you want a dog that you can take anywhere, I talk about this take anywhere dog, they will also need to know how to settle, not be overstimulated by stuff around them. So socialization can become a part of this too, getting them out and about and getting new experiences and things like that, so they can learn how to settle in cafes and your friends' houses and anywhere else you go as well. But you can check that video out. Hopefully that's been helpful. I definitely urge you to go away this afternoon, clear away your toys if this is a problem for you, all the food, all the treats, everything else. Be as boring as you can and maybe even have a nap with your dog. Maybe that helps. And I'll speak to you in the next video. Take care for now. Bye bye.